In the mid-20th century, a tide of change began to surge in the United States, marking the start of the civil rights movement. This was an era that saw the culmination of centuries-long struggles, a period that bore witness to a society yearning for equality. America was a nation divided, its deep-rooted racial disparities manifesting in every aspect of life. But the dawn of the civil rights movement signaled a new chapter. It was an awakening, a call to action that resonated across the nation. The fight for racial equality became a collective effort, a battle fought not just by the oppressed, but by those who believed in the promise of justice and equality. Central to this movement were key figures, leaders who dared to challenge the status quo, who stood against the tide of discrimination. Among these key figures stood a man who would become a beacon of hope and change, Martin Luther King Jr. In the wake of the civil rights movement, a day of remembrance was born, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This day, dedicated to honoring the life and legacy of Dr. King, has a history that is as compelling as the man it commemorates. The journey began in 1968, the same year that King was tragically assassinated. Shortly after his death, a bill was introduced to make his birthday, January 15th, a national holiday. This proposal was not met with universal acceptance. Many were resistant to the idea of honoring a man who, from their perspective, was a controversial figure. Despite this, the bill's supporters were undeterred. One of the most significant milestones in the campaign to establish Martin Luther King Jr. Day came in the form of a public petition. This petition, which was said to have garnered 6 million signatures, was arguably the largest petition in favor of an issue in the history of the United States. The voices of the people had spoken, and they were calling for a day to honor the man who had fought so tirelessly for their rights. The decisive moment arrived in 1983. After years of debate and public campaigning, President Ronald Reagan signed the bill into law, officially recognizing the third Monday in January as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. This was a monumental achievement, but the journey was not yet over. Even with this federal recognition, it took some states longer than others to adopt the holiday. It wasn't until the year 2000 that Martin Luther King Jr. Day was finally observed by all 50 states. This marked the end of a 32-year journey from the time of King's assassination. Despite the resistance, the day finally stood recognized, a testament to the enduring legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. His dream, his vision, and his unwavering commitment to equality and justice continue to inspire millions across the globe, reminding us all of the power of peaceful protest and the importance of standing up for what is right, no matter the odds. But what does Martin Luther King Jr. Day truly represent? In essence, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is much more than a mere date on the calendar. It's a symbol, a beacon of hope, and a reminder of the long journey towards racial equality. It's a day when we honor a man who stood up for his beliefs despite the odds stacked against him, a man who dedicated his life to a cause greater than himself, the cause of equal rights for all, regardless of race or color. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a day of service. It's a day when we are encouraged to give back to our communities, to lend a helping hand to those in need, and to make a positive impact in our world. It's a day when we uphold the values of empathy, compassion, and selflessness, values that Martin Luther King Jr. himself embodied. This day serves as a poignant reminder of the values that Martin Luther King Jr. stood for. It's a day when we reflect on his teachings of nonviolence, love, and justice. It's a day when we remember his powerful words, like when he said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." But beyond that, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is a celebration of progress. It's a day when we recognize the strides we've made as a society in the fight for racial equality. We've come a long way since the days of segregation and blatant racism, and this day is a reminder of that progress. Yet, it's also a reminder that the fight is far from over. Even today, in the 24th century, we still grapple with issues of racial inequality and injustice. Martin Luther King Jr. Day serves as a call to action, a reminder that we must continue to fight for equality and justice, just as Martin Luther King Jr. did all those years ago. Martin Luther King Jr. Day is not just a day off, but a day on, a day to honor, remember, and continue the fight for equality and justice.